welcome, and I thought I'd just show you another one of my finished art journals. So I usually keep one or two going a year. They tend to start in January and finish sort of December, but sometimes they may overlap a bit. But just as I come to an end, it's quite nice to just reflect back through different pages. So I thought I'd just have a look through and tell you about my thought process and some of the techniques I might have used that might be of interest to you. So this is the front cover. I've actually used something called Powertex, which is a mixed media fabric hardener, to decorate the front. So it's actually made of bits of fabric, and I've got some little stick-on wooden letters and bits and pieces. And once it's dry, you can sort of dry brush it and give it this sort of metallic-y feel. So this particular book is a ring-bound book. It's actually got brown pages in, but they're quite nice thick pages. Obviously, so using a brown page, I've often had to use some gesso in the background, or just a bit of white paint in the background, just to give it a bit of body, so whatever I put on top is not going to just get hidden or not show up very well. So this one I started, actually this one I started in the summer 2019, and I finished it in December 2020. So so obviously, to start a sketchbook sometimes, or an art journal, sometimes it's really hard to start something. And I think with this one, one of my go-to images is are circles or spirals. So if I can't think of anything else, I tend to go for this shape, just because it's quite a nice organic shape. And I think with this, I just literally scribbled with some crayons and some coloured pencils, and then I decided to write some wording around it. So if I put, a spiral forever grows bigger and bigger into the universe, where it repeats itself throughout nature. So a spiral is found in nature a lot. Obviously you get snail shells, which are spirals. You get little spiral bones inside your ear. Often things like tendrils in plants, they'll sort of grow in like a spiraling fashion. And obviously you also get things like spiral galaxies and stuff. So it's quite a nice shape to sort of go back to and play with. Obviously I've done the same thing here. I'm always drawn to these sort of fossil ammonite sort of shapes. So that's obviously another thing I've gone through there. And the same with this, I've just been experimenting with interlocking shapes and sort of like a bit of a Celtic design going on there. These are like mandalas. So an automatic mandala is literally, you don't really think of anything, you literally just do it. So this one I've used a bit of white paint in the background. This one I've done straight onto the brown paper. I've just literally doodled with pens and markers and Sharpie pens and things. So I don't really know what I'm necessarily going to do on a page, but I usually try and at least do something, at least daily, and if not, at least once a week, just to do something. And it helps me de-stress, and it can help you sort of mindfully to sort of forget all your troubles and worries and everything just for a few moments, while you just get absorbed into the task of drawing or doodling or what have you. This one, obviously use some tissue paper there. This one is a hand print using string. Sometimes things might be related to a course that I'm doing at the time, so sometimes I might demonstrate something or something in that I'm going to do in an art journaling class. For example, I might do it in my sketchbook at the time, or I might do it in advance and then show them an example of what kind of thing you can aim for. This was experimenting with leaves and ink sprays, I think. And I was just playing with, I've got silver and gold paint in there, I think I used. same here. Sometimes I'll do a background, but I won't necessarily know what I'm going to do on it. So sometimes I might, say for this example, I've done like a white background and I put crayon on it. And I think I used a couple of stencils. And I might not have been 100% happy with it, but I'll just leave it. And then eventually I might go back to it and, you know, think of something else to make it a bit more pleasing to the eye, or something I'm a bit more happy with. So often in a journal you might mess up a page or not like what you've produced, but rather than throw it away, just live with it for a little while and then go back to it, and you might find, oh, if I stick something over the top, or if I add a bit of colour or a bit of embellishment, sometimes it'll work. It's all like a learning process. So with this, I've got a feather, a bit of printing in the background, a few magazine cutouts, which I quite like to do. This was a bit of texture. And these were some, I think they're from Poundland or something, some gems that I thought, what can I do with these gems? Often I buy something and think, no idea what I'm going to do with it until something, you know, suddenly think, oh yes, I'll do that. So I think I was just experimenting there. Again, I've got my spirals going on. This was like a motto. This was actually for one of my classes. So when one door closes, another opens. It's one of my favourite kind of sayings, which is often quite true in life, you know, because you can plan ahead, can't you? You might apply for jobs, or you might think you're going to go in a certain direction in life, and then suddenly that door closes and somewhere there's another opportunity or another door that opens. So that's just representing that saying. A bit of stenciling. I've obviously used a bit of gold paint and cutting out sort of apertures. So on the other side I've got doorways to change. So it's the same thing, isn't it? Sort of new opportunities arising. This is another experiment. I wasn't actually that happy with this one. This is one of those ones that I perhaps overkilled. But in the end, just putting that in the middle, I thought brought it all together. So but just be present, be honest, be kind, be true. It's obviously feeling a bit deeper, meaningful that day. This was an experimental. I think this was some paint I had left over from another project. Sometimes I don't like wasting paint, or I don't like, if it's acrylic paint, I don't really like putting it down the sink, because it's not good for, you know, your drains and stuff. So I'll either wipe it on something and throw it away, or sometimes I'll just splat it onto a blank page of my sketchbook or my art journal, and I'll go back to it and work over it. So that's what I did in this case. I had the black and that terracotta shape, and I think for ages I didn't really know what to do with it. And then I came across these stickery things in a bag that I had stashed away in my stash of craft supplies, and I thought, oh no, I'll just play around. And, you know, I mean, it's not beautiful, but it's just experimenting, and sometimes experimenting is good to develop your ideas. Circles again, I've gone, I think I saw some stitched fabric that was similar to this, and I just wanted to sort of record it because I thought it was quite a nice idea for something in the future. Keep it real. So I think these were just I think these were some pastel pencils that I had, and I was just experimenting with. It's quite mucky. Again, a bit of collage with a bit of paint and looks like Sharpie markers over the top. Often I'll put quotes in, or I might put, I've put my positivity mantra. So sometimes you can look back on things and think, oh yeah, sort of like you're trying to get yourself in a good headspace in order to do some creative stuff. That was quite an interesting one. I think I just literally had some black paint left and went split, splat, splot. And then later on I thought, well, it looks a bit like a block of flats. So I kind of painted in the yellow squares and then drew in little windows, and then I thought, well, it looks a bit like derelict. So I thought, well, I'll put some cherry flowers in the front. I quite like that as an image. It's quite worked quite well. Got a bit of paint from the other page that's got stuck on it at some point, but I'm not worried about that too much. I also quite like this. This is a similar thing where the black actually got a bit stuck on the white background. But I've used some Posca pens and made it into like a little folk art background. So might be something I might use at a later date on something else, like a piece of furniture or to decorate something. This is a bit of mixed media. I think I've got spray ink, a little piece of music paper, some stamps. Same with this one. This is a bit of washi tape going around the outside. It doesn't stick particularly well, but it's okay. I think when I did this, I was in a bit of a dark mood, and I was sort of didn't know which, I had a lot of decisions to make, and not really sure which way to go. But obviously I was trying to feel a bit brighter on this side, and I did a bit of collage and cut some pieces out of magazines and things. Same here, be a bit more collage. I think that's tissue paper background. Sometimes I quite like just cutting things out of magazines and just finding out, it almost creates itself, so you kind of some of the wording will just appear and it'll help you produce a picture. This is like a sort of Rennie Mackintosh style rose with string and tissue paper, and I was just experimenting with a bit of newsprint background, so see what that turned out like. This is a bit more experimenting with texture. I wasn't overly keen on these pages, but as I say, unless you try these things, you're never gonna learn from it. So you might learn you don't like it, so at least you've learnt that. So sometimes colour combinations as well, you might try like a colour combination you just don't like pink and green or something, and find out it works quite well. Like this one, sort of white and gold, which doesn't really work that well with the fine liner, but it's still a learning process. This one's almost similar. It reminded me of like Aboriginal sort of painting. Here we've got a bit more. I was trying like sticking on or stitching on things. This was a sketch for a sculpture I was working on. This is, I think, was the beginning of the lockdown when we started seeing people walking around in masks and stuff. So it's just a little representation of that. Again here, I think I was using up some black paint, but it was quite sort of sticky paint. So even though it's dried, it's kind of got stuck and pulled paint off, and it's not my favourite. They're not my favourite pages, but I've sort of kept them just anyway. A bit more sketching and doodling with acrylic paint. I think this might have been for a idea for a painting. I was just trying out really bright colours just to see what it would work out like. Bit of abstract. I think that was a printing from the end of a kitchen roll tube, just to play around. Again, stencils, as I was talking about, like pink and green. I think I probably just used whatever colours I had left over from another project. So I used the colours I had left over from another project and just left it like that. I did think about going back and doing something, but I didn't on that occasion. These were little stickers from something else I just thought I'd use. Another concept of like being pot bound, so you could sort of say that sometimes you might feel like you've not grown, or you're not growing, or you're not developing how you should. So, what would your repot, if you had to repot yourself in some fresh compost and a larger pot, where would you reach to? Where would you go? What would you do? What would it look like? So it's sort of about personal growth and things like that. This was just messing about with some coloured paper and cutouts. So I was literally cutting into the page. You can sort of see through. Quite colourful. And some artists' quotes that I used for another one of my classes. So again, experimenting with just cutting and sticking, which is quite therapeutic. This looks like a labyrinth. I think I was just play drawing with, like, I've got a little oak tree in the middle. Wasn't particularly keen on that colour combination either, but it's just, you know, doodling and playing. Same with this, it's like a washed out. I think I did a colour wash over a collage just to sort of wash out a bit. This one I was just experimenting with some metallic paints. They're quite cheap sort of children's paints. So I just wanted to see what they looked like or what they did. This was from another one of my lessons when we were experimenting with frottage. I did some frottage on some paper, and then I thought, what can I do with this now? Should I throw it away? Or I thought, oh no, I'll just cut it out and stick it in my book just for fun. Again, I've gone back to that organic spirally shape. Looks a bit like an amoeba, you know, like some sort of cellular creature that you find in water, that's sort of microscopic or something. And I've gone into brush strokes and just made a pattern out of it. Same thing with this. I just doodled, sort of mindlessly doodling, or mindfully doodling perhaps. The bit there is where the paint's got stuck. And here's obviously just playing around with a bit of leftover colour again. I often do that in a book. I mean, like this I could go back to, but I think in the end you know, you don't have to go back to something. You just, because that was on the other side, I thought if I put something there, it will distract from this kind of crystal sort of shape. Here I think I started something, I didn't like it, so I sort of scribbled over it. And I've got this like tree figure growing out of it and a bit of snow. I've got a blue moon here. Gone back to the circle shape again. And a little bit of doodling. And finish off with a pink sun. So again, I've gone back, sort of started with the circles and sort of gone back to it. And that's it, and that's my finished art journal. So I hope you like it, and hopefully it's given you some ideas to try. And I'd really like to hear from you if you have your own art journal ideas, or if you'd like to share anything that you do. I have a page called Art for Wellbeing MK on Facebook, so feel free to get in touch on there. And I'd really like to see and share what your experiences of art journaling are like. So thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bye.